So you already know that parenting is a full-time job. Well, let's add in a full-time job on top of that. This is the 5 Squad. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Babe, what is this? Episode number 8 of the 5 Squad podcast. My name is Evan Andrews.
I'm Haley Andrews.
And we are a lovely husband and wife duo here.
That is your favorite word.
Lovely?
Yes.
She just loves that I love the lovely.
So lovely.
She loves it. Anyway, today we are talking about kind of entrepreneurial lifestyles while being parents.
Yes.
So, I will actually let you start.
I was going to say.
You can give more insight from the parent side just because.
Because I'm the dominant
You've been a parent longer than I have.
Okay.
So.
But I also think it has to do with dominant versus.
But I think the perspective that I want is you watching somebody like me from the outside who is a real entrepreneur, running a business, doing all of that, where you haven't fully taken that plunge yet, but still taking on a lot of those parenting roles where I also am trying to do that as well.
Basically, the circus of being an entrepreneur, business owner, parent, mom, dad.
So from the outside looking in, I want your opinion on
your journey or my journey?
Yeah, like when you watch somebody try to be a parent while having a full-time job, like what does that kind of look like
I think
you?
I'm going to spin it because I think I would be better off sharing what it looks like for me to do it. Than me explain what I see for you because I don't see you all day.
I want both. So you're going to talk most of this episode.
So I don't know. It's hit or miss for me. Sometimes I feel like it's super easy to juggle. But sometimes I think you just wear so many hats, being an entrepreneur and a parent. Especially when you want to put your all into all of it. That's where I find myself probably a little bit more hard on myself than you. Mm-hmm. I think for me, I just want to do them both to the best of my ability. But like we've said a million times, there's just not enough time in the day. And
it's definitely hard to, even if you plan it out and put it on your calendar and do it all like it's still really hard because
honestly I feel like you can't plan. You can plan out the entrepreneurship stuff but loosely because think about it, it's like this one has the flu, that one has a performance, this kid has gymnastics on one side of the town, and then at the same time this kid has this. Like it's like how do you do it all without feeling like you're drowning?
I think you may have remember when Gary Vaynerchuk posted a piece of content. I think he was at like a conference or something speaking on stage in like a panel.
Oh, yes.
And he was talking about work-life balance. And it's like, you just try to do the things.
The way I look at it is I think about myself as a child, right? Like, what did I need from my parent? And there was no such thing as side hustle, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. So I think just show up. When you're with your spouse, show up. When you're doing your business stuff, show up. When you're doing your parenting stuff, show up. But what I think people, and myself included, but something that I think people should focus the most on is when you show up for just what you're doing. Like when I'm doing something with the kids and I'm trying to post something and I'm also trying to read work emails and like nobody benefits from that. Mm-hmm. And it makes it a lot more stressful. I feel like if we, not just me and you, but people in general, parents in general, remember that we're shaping them. Yeah. But also shaping them with our marriages and how we show up to different aspects of life. We just have to keep that in mind because if we're constantly stressed, constantly grinding that hustle culture, I just don't think we're setting anybody up for success. And that's kind of where my main focus is when I juggle them all, is like being present with whatever it is I'm doing, you know?
Yeah. No.
Now that causes a problem when, you know, they're fighting, he's doing this, I'm trying to post this, I'm on a Zoom call, and that's where it's difficult, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me...
You're way better at juggling it all.
Maybe? I don't know. I mean,
You're just calm. You can handle it all.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I think that's guys versus or men versus women.
Negative. You are a different breed. I'm so sorry.
I think it's men versus like a lot like guys. We usually hide everything under the surface, right? Like those emotions that women feel and kind of bring to the surface and bring out,
right?
Like men struggle with the same thing.
Oh,
but
I agree.
We understand like how to not let it go past a certain place to where certain things show. Now is that a blanket statement? No. Do some men freak out and have those episodes more than traditional, or more than the average man? Sure. Like that thing happens all the time. But
I think that's a good point. I think maintaining composure when things don't work out is one of the most important things in anything. And I think that's something that I struggle with more than you do. So
sure. No, I think generalizations, that's men versus women in general. I think more often than not, women will freak out over
I disagree with you, but I'm not going to go into that.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is, either way, juggling it all, having a business, being a parent, I think like maintaining that composure when things don't go well, like we've been working with our son to learn that. Mm-hmm. I think it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you can do that, then the rest kind of falls together. At least that's what you've taught me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, yeah. So what I don't know if this is off topic or anything, but
probably,
in those moments, like I still think everybody can have their like freak out time. Right. But I look at it as, like, what is your recharge time? Like, some people like recharge time is a week, and it's like, you're hanging on to this angst, and you're hanging on to these things that pissed you off and all of this. And I think when you learn how to shorten your recharge time, you learn how to tackle the next hurdle.
But where I think it gets really tricky for moms, especially, and this is not anything against dads, but moms especially, we don't get time. So that in itself is difficult to juggle, like mentally, when everybody else and every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets a break but mom, and we're supposed to be, juggling the business and being successful, looking beautiful, being the best parent, eating like gluten-free and all these things. Like we're supposed to carry and wear all the hats so perfectly without getting any recharge time. And when we do, it's because we either freaked out or lost our temper or like just have blown up, and that's not awesome, That's the hardest part about, I mean, even just 9 to 5 work-life balance, parenting and juggling something. Right. But when it's your own business that you've created and your heart and soul is in it, it's hard when you don't get to.
It's definitely more stressful for sure.
Oh yeah, because it's personal.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it's like, how do you pick between your two favorite kids? Like, who's a favorite?
There's literally no switch where it's like,
and no like rule book or guide or
because I know from working from a regular job, like if my boss texts or calls me outside of work, like
I talk to my boss outside of work all the time.
No, but I'm just saying, like in the old jobs that I would have or whatever, like when I was working retail and all, like
that would be so weird.
I don't like, there is nothing in any kind of thing that says I have to answer you outside of the hours I'm not working.
It's funny that you say that.
So when I show up to the next day and they're like, you didn't answer me, we were down a man, it's like, I'm here because this is what my schedule was.
It's funny you say that because I know we're talking about the entrepreneur life, but at my full-time job, I have a partner this year. And she reminds me a lot of me, but I keep having to tell her like, hey, by the way, you like when you leave here, you literally don't need to get back into your email. You don't need to it will be on your plate tomorrow. And my phrase for her is like, nobody's going to blow up. But for whatever reason, I can't take that advice for myself.
We usually can't take our own advice.
I know. And gosh, I have good advice.
I think I have good advice too.
You do. Yeah, I know.
But I still don't follow my own advice all the time.
But I'd be eager to see the kids' perspective of, you working from home and me juggling it all. And like, are we showing up for them? Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think we're pretty rad parents, but we'll have to get Logan to comment and let us know.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, but at the same time, he's going into his teenage years.
Yuck.
They call those the teenage angst years.
I don't know.
So I'm sure he
I might have to move out for those years.
Or we'll just No, I'm not going to give him his own apartment. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
No, give him more chores.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely been a roller coaster ride, diving headfirst into owning a business, diving headfirst into a marriage and situation with children.
I think though, that was the best thing for you is like all or nothing, because
I mean,
sometimes I think you don't realize how great you are at a lot of things. I mean, actually all the things. And I think doing the baby steps in the beginning and not being sure wasn't serving you at all. So like showing up all the way has really helped you.
I think it's a testament to like the safety blanket the safety blanket mentality that I had, not necessarily growing up, but kind of.
I think, I mean, the way...
because my mom, she's worked the same job since she was 16 years old. 40 plus years or whatever, but same job. And it takes a lot for even somebody to do that.
Yep.
Right? Because...
I could never. That sounds terrible to me. I like change way too much.
Right.
Like, no.
But I think I always came from the mindset of like, take it slow, be safe, make sure you have this, boom, 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 and just kind of getting out of that habit.
I mean, I think I feel the exact same way, but in a different kind of perspective. I'm struggling with that right now. Like I was, made to think like, go to college, do all these things, follow this and get this money. And I've done all of the things and I've done them very, very well. I have the salary, I have the thing that I have all the things, but it just isn't serving. I mean, it's not bringing
fulfilling.
me and I think we were brought up thinking, you have to have a reliable income, but what's more important, a reliable income or a reliable mindset? You know,
I was gonna say your sanity.
I mean, really, I think
it's the most important thing.
There's a cap on that 9 to 5 sometimes. And
no, there totally is. I mean, unless that 9 to 5 job that you work has huge earning potential.
Right. And you're like, going to be the CEO or something. Yeah. But unfortunately, I'm a teacher.
We're not all in that same boat. I get it. But
so I think we both are going through kind of the same exact thing, but in a different way, if that makes sense. Like breaking that mentality of what is our safety? I think our safety is each other. I mean, I really do. I think that's kind of the key to all of the success for us is just knowing that no matter what,
stable foundation. Yeah.
That's the stability that we are like chasing. It doesn't have to be financial.
Well, I think you wrapped that up in a pretty perfect bow.
I know, right? I am a good
because that brings us to the end of episode 8. I love talking about this.
So get you an Evan and you can be the best entrepreneur and parent ever.
I don't know about all that, but just...
Oh, the next episode?
What's the next one? Yes.
My favorite topic.
I think we're going to have a great next episode. Next episode, we're going to be talking about whether coaching and mentorship is something that you should look into if you are trying to become an entrepreneur. So thank you guys for watching this episode of The 5 Squad. And
see you next week.
See you next week.